Bitcoin is trading at $94,000. So in this video, I want to take a look at the charts, the big picture, what is happening here. We are now on January 13th. We are a week away from the inauguration of Donald Trump. So there's a lot of potential uncertainty in this week. But after that, what is the big picture? Are we still on track with the 4-year cycle? Can we expect massive upside in the next couple of weeks and next couple of months? Or not? Grab your favorite beverage, let's dive in. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Dirk. Hit the subscribe button down below, click the notification bell on YouTube, follow my page on Instagram so that you do get more of these updates and you can stay up to date on what is happening in the crypto markets. So this is a weekly chart here of Bitcoin, and as you can see, we're at $94,000 here, and you can see this chart is pretty clear what is happening here. So we are now in this level that we've been in since the last 2 months or so, where we've kind of been chopping around. We put in an all-time high of $108,000 in December. We pulled back to the low 90,000s and kind of we're stuck at this point right now. Obviously, like I just said, there is the uncertainty about, first of all, it's a new year, the world kind of getting back online, getting back to normal for the year ahead, but also the inauguration of Donald Trump, where he's going to take office. And if that all goes smoothly, I think it removes kind of some of that uncertainty, and then at least everyone's kind of on the same page, where we know Donald Trump is then the president for the next 4 years. Everything's gone smoothly, and hopefully we can look forward to kind of a pro-crypto administration, and that in general, it's going to be good for crypto in the coming months and years, long term anyways. So based on the charts, technically what we have here is we're just consolidating at this point in time, and all we can do right now is be patient. We are still at $94,000 for a single Bitcoin, which is crazy high. If you go back a few years ago and you would have asked anyone, hey, do you think we would be chilling here and people would be fearful near $94,000 per Bitcoin? It's pretty crazy to think about. So overall, nothing too crazy has happened. We have two very clear levels at this point. What I think, just to keep it simple, which is the level which we've been consolidating above, which is about this $90,000 level. It is completely possible that we get a little sweep below it to take out the liquidity. And if that is all we get, a little sweep here, reclaim it, and then continue higher. That is the first option. Now, the more bearish option, even though it's still not a full bear market, but the more short-term bearish option is that we get a full correction to as low as $70,000, which is this lower horizontal line over here. And even if that were to happen, I'm not saying it will, but even if it were to happen, that still does not invalidate the bull market technically. So we could go as low as retesting the March 2024 all-time high. So at this point in time, let's call it $70,000. You can see also this 50-week moving average here in blue has confluence with that exact level. So in theory, technically, based on the chart, we could drop to $70,000, retest it, and then just continue to new all-time highs. That is a possibility, which of course would be a scary thing in the short term because we're now at 94,000. Imagine we drop to $70,000. That's a $24,000 drop. That would be probably a huge drop in altcoins, probably more so percentage-wise, and that would put a huge amount of fear into the market. But like I said, technically, that is a possibility where it still wouldn't create a new bear market, and it could drop to 70,000, scare everybody out of their positions, and then go all the way back to new all-time highs and even higher than that in the weeks and months that follow. I don't know what the probability percentage of that is. At this point in time, we are still above this main level over here. Okay, we're still above this 90,000, and as long as that is the case, we don't need to think about the worst case yet. If we start to lose $90,000, then we can start to consider, well, maybe this worst case scenario is in play, and maybe it's going to drop to 70, right? It's always about different scenarios, if then. So if we lose this 90,000, then it becomes more likely that the downside is in play. Until then, there's no real need to worry about it. Just be aware of the fact that it is a possibility, if it happens, that you are not completely 100% over leveraged overextended, and that if it happens, you're not going to get wiped out, right? That is how most people get wrecked in financial markets, because they simply have too much exposure to the market, or they're over leveraged. And if the market does do something like this, like a worst case scenario, where it does pull back 20, 30, 40% in a short period of time, just make sure that you can handle that drawdown, and even better, still have money left to be able to buy that dip, because those kind of really deep sell-offs within bull markets tend to be the best opportunities for compounding and for adding and for dollar cost averaging. So as you can see on this chart also, I have written here in red, the bear market starts below here. So if we lose the 50-week moving average with a weekly close below it, I would be inclined to call it a new bear market, and I would say very likely the bull market is over. So that's something, we know the levels, and until then we just have to be patient. We're still at 94. Okay, we are still a long way away from it technically turning into a bear market. And even if it drops to 70, it could still be a bull market. Okay, so that is the big picture on Bitcoin. And it's the most important to understand, because where Bitcoin is going, altcoins are going. As long as Bitcoin is still in a bull market, especially as long as it's consolidating or potentially even moving higher, it allows for altcoins to follow that direction. If Bitcoin no longer plays the bull market game and starts trending lower, well, then altcoins don't really have a chance. So that's why the focus on Bitcoin, first of all, so that you understand the direction in the big picture, and afterwards you can apply that same analysis basically to altcoins. So this is the Bitcoin price after halvings, and you can see on this chart, it basically plots the cycles of the previous halvings, right? So 2012, 2016, 2020, and 2024. And you can see overlaid in terms of movements after the halving, where were the previous cycles. And you can see right now we are in the black cycle on this chart. And you can see at this exact point in time, about 250 days after the halving, in all three previous cycles, so the whole history of Bitcoin, all the previous Bitcoin and crypto bull markets, the biggest upside moves really started at this point. So from 250 days onwards, you can see in previous cycles, for the next 2 to 3 months, things started to move higher. And that lines up with everything that is currently taking place. We are currently at this point, 250 plus days after the halving. We are now in the year after the halving, the first quarter of the year after the halving. And this is typically when the altcoins really start to shine, and when we start to get our local tops and even our cycle tops. So in theory, 12 months after the halving could be a timing, which means March or April of this year for a potential cycle top, as long as all the way down to October or November. We don't know what we're going to get, but in my opinion, just focus on the short term. If we are going to get 3 to 4 months of massive upside pumps, personally, that's when I would be looking to exit the market somewhere towards the end of March, maybe the end of April, depending on how the charts look. We have the inauguration of Donald Trump in a week from now. After that happens, and if that all goes smoothly, we should have a lot of the volatility removed out of the markets, a lot of the uncertainty, should I say, where people are maybe still a little bit cautious about how things are going to go. Is it going to go smoothly, yes or no? And if that's all out the way, we know Donald Trump is the president. Everything went okay. We have the initial holiday volatility gone, the thin liquidity of people being on holiday in December and the first 2 weeks of January. And then in theory, towards the end of January onwards until March or April, that is historically when we get the biggest moves in crypto for the very last phase of the crypto bull market cycle. So this is basically the big picture info that you need to know. And next week, after everything goes smoothly, I will do another update. And hopefully by that point, we are going to start to see the markets move higher. That way, you have a bit of a timeline, time frame. You know historically what happens in the next 3 to 4 months are basically the window where we can see the altcoins move up and where we can see the final phase potentially of this bull market cycle. So just a quick note, if you still want to join my VIP, there's less than 2 or 3 weeks left. I'm going to close the doors to new members. We are too far along in this bull market cycle. In December, I increased the price. Now on January 28th, I'm going to be closing the doors for the duration of the bull market, maybe even well into the bear market. So if you still want my guidance, the link is in the description down below. Come and join us in VIP. Daily updates, charts, real-time trade ideas. All of that is there with a 60-day money-back guarantee. But January 28th, I am done. I'm not taking on new members because that is just too far in the bull market, and that is the cutoff date. So if you still want to join us, come and check it out. Link is in the description down below.